Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Gonnella, and I am the Director of Clinical and Support Services over at CSC Rochester, formerly Gilda's Club. I am joined today by my colleague, Carin Adams.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carin Adams. I'm Director of Program Operations and Outreach at CSC Rochester. And I'm super excited right now to introduce you to our friend and fellow patient cancer advocate, Kim Thiboldeaux, who led cancer support community for more than 20 years. As a nonprofit executive and author, Kim continues to make her mark on the global stage, ensuring patients' voice is at the center of every conversation about cancer. As soon as we had heard she had written a new book to help patients and their loved ones navigate life with cancer, we knew you needed to meet her. Her new book is called Your Cancer Roadmap, Navigating Life with Resilience, and it's a wonderful book for cancer patients, their families, and caregivers. It's really designed to take the guesswork out of the crucial decisions taken every step of the way. It captures CSC's nearly 40 years of experience serving people facing cancer, and Kim's 20 years of advising individuals impacted by cancer. I also wanted to let you know that all proceeds from the sale of Your Cancer Roadmap will benefit cancer support community and its mission to serve all people impacted by a cancer diagnosis. Kim, thanks for being here today with us.
Thanks for having me.
So Kim, being an executive at a global non-for-profit must be an incredibly time-consuming job. So why was it really important for you to take the time to write this book, and why now?
Well, first I want to say thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with all of you at Cancer Support Community Rochester, spend a little bit of time together. I also want to congratulate you on all the amazing work that you're doing in your community to serve all people impacted by cancer and their loved ones. You guys are doing a great job, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you today. So thank you. You know, I have spent the past 20 plus years talking to patients all over the country, probably thousands of patients at this point. And I found that there were these themes that kept recurring in the conversation. And I just kept sort of noting those, you know, in my head, those themes. And I would say to somebody, get out a pen, get out a piece of paper, you know, let's write this down. Let's do this. Let's get through this. So over the past couple of years, I've sort of been percolating on that idea. We started by writing, you know, here are the top 10 things patients need to know. And it really made sense to put it all in one place, in one easy to use format. In this book, we want to get it out to as many cancer patients as possible. As you said, take the guesswork out of it. Here's the roadmap for anyone who has been touched by cancer. So that's why we decided to just kind of put it all together in one place.
Now, this book is actually the third book that you've written, Kim. Can you give us some behind the scenes info and share, how did you manage to do this while still running an international nonprofit?
Well, this was my COVID project. Normally I'm on the road, you know, every week, traveling all over the country, meeting with our great affiliates and with donors and speaking at conferences. But this is the longest I've been in one place, probably, I guess, since college. And so, you know, no sourdough starter for me. There were no TikTok videos. You know, I kind of had this book in my head, and COVID became the perfect opportunity to really kind of put pen to paper and really just kind of start to put those ideas down into one place. I worked on the book for the entire year of 2020. So I wrote a little bit kind of every weekend during the week. The ideas would come, the outline would come, and then there you have it. Our publisher, who published the previous two books, was very, very interested in it. He thought it was the perfect sort of next iteration and a great way to express to everyone what the cancer support community does.
Now, Your Cancer Roadmap, it contains information for both cancer patients, their caregivers, and their families. So why did you choose to write that book that's kind of all-encompassing from all these different perspectives and not just focusing on one aspect of it?
Well, so there are a lot of books out there that do focus on one aspect. There are a lot of books out there that was maybe somebody's autobiography or their own personal experience with cancer. I found that after more than 20 years at the cancer support community, and you guys know this well, people find us at different points along the cancer continuum. And so when I was writing this book, I really had that in mind. So the way the book is laid out is in three sections. The first section is everything you need to know when you've just been diagnosed. The second section is about when you're in active treatment, and all the things you need to do during that period. And then the third section is about post-treatment survivorship, also talks about end-of-life issues and hospice care and things like that. No chapter is more than, 8 or 10 pages or so. I didn't want it to be overwhelming. I wanted somebody to be able to pick up the book, kind of flip to the table of contents and say, oh yeah, side effects. That's something that I need to kind of read up more about, having some side effects. Oh yeah, I have school age kids. I'm not sure, I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. I don't know how to talk to them about cancer. There's a chapter about that. There's a chapter about if you are nearing end of life, how to create a legacy of your life with your friends, with your family. So, I really wanted people to be able to pick it up. And truthfully, also, the book is designed as much for the caregiver as it is for the patient. We know at Cancer Support Community, we talk about people impacted by cancer. And we know that loved ones, friends, family, neighbors, others are impacted. So for those of you who are the caregivers, I want you to know this book is as much for you as it is for the person with cancer. And there's also a chapter that is just dedicated to the caregivers, to the needs of caregivers, making sure you are supporting yourselves and we are supporting you at the Cancer Support Community.
Fantastic. The book covers so much information and it's such a great resource. Are there any areas that you want people really to hone in on, certain areas that people sometimes kind of avoid where you think they could really benefit from reading the book?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are a few topics that I just, want to highlight. One of them is clinical trials, and I've always been really committed to education and awareness around clinical trials. I think a lot of us learned maybe more about clinical trials during COVID, right? There was a lot of talk about trials, but I still think there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about clinical trials. For example, people think you might get a placebo in a cancer treatment trial. Not the case. You're going to get treatment. And it would be unethical, right, not to give somebody treatment who has cancer. So some myth busting around clinical trials, I think, is really important. When to ask for trials, how to find trials. Another area that's critical today when you're diagnosed with cancer is to talk about testing. Now, there's genetic testing and there's genomic testing. There's a chapter in there that explains the difference. In brief, genetic is our sort of family history, right? And genomic is sort of the definition or personality of our cancer and of our tumor. So that's where we learn, that's where we have biomarker testing. That's where we can learn about mutations and things like that. Critical that folks get the proper and appropriate testing. It will guide the treatment plan and making sure folks are getting the right treatment. And then lastly, I just want to highlight the topic of social and emotional support. Obviously, that's what we all do together at the Cancer Support Community, but also some folks say, well, that's not for me. I don't want to go to a support group. That's not. I want people to understand psychosocial support is everything. It's about a support group, but it's about one-on-one counseling, family counseling. It's about nutrition. It's about exercise. There's some great recipes in this book, by the way. It's about exercise. It's about coping. It's about communication and how you can be educated and empowered to face cancer, really armed with all of the information and resources, really with your eyes wide open. So those are maybe the kind of 3 topics. I could talk about all of them, but those are 3 that I think maybe it might be of particular interest to folks.
I think that's great. It's literally something for everybody in the book. Whatever they're looking for, they can kind of find it there. And something that's really interesting is your book also contains some personal stories from everyday patients, but then also some guest essays from celebrities, including journalist Joan Ludden and ESPN reporter Holly Rowe. Why was it important for you to kind of include these stories and essays in addition to those patient stories as well? And what were you hoping for the readers to take away from that?
Yeah, well, I think we all know that sort of, cancer is the great equalizer, right? It doesn't matter if you're an athlete, if you're a celebrity, it shows no regard for age, for race, for geography, for socioeconomic status, celebrity status. And I just felt like if some of those more high profile people were to share their own experience in their own struggles and their own challenges that they face, I feel like it might make the cancer experience a little less scary to hear some of those folks share in their own words, some of their own challenges, things that they struggled with, things that they went through. We're so grateful for all those wonderful folks who stepped up to participate in the book. They all have such an amazing story to share from their own perspective. And I was hoping that it would make things a little more accessible. We have beautiful stories and quotes from patients from all over the country, patients from Cancer Support Community, sharing in their own words. And I just felt like those stories from kind of our everyday folks and from those celebrities might make people feel a little bit less alone.
Definitely.
Wonderful. Additionally, the book features a foreword by First Lady Jill Biden, who's a longtime advocate for cancer patients. Why was it really important to get her involved in the project too? And what's the message that, she shares?
So in the foreword of the book, Dr. Biden writes that cancer has been a dark thread that has run through my life. She talks about that, and in ways that we know, in ways that I think some people maybe did not know, how cancer's impacted her family. And those experiences really have motivated her to become a fierce advocate for cancer patients. It is part of her now national platform as First Lady, these issues, around cancer, and how wonderful that we have such an advocate on the national stage, elevating the patient voice, elevating the conversation, talking about the needs of those everyday patients, talking about the financial struggle, the emotional struggle, the struggle of caregivers. She's very committed to raising the voice, of caregivers, and really shining a light on how challenging a cancer diagnosis can be. But I also want to say, and people may not know this, but she quietly reaches out to cancer patients and survivors all the time. She makes phone calls, she writes notes. She's very, she's a very kind, caring, and compassionate person. And those words have provided, I've heard back from folks, great inspiration to people and to families. And I was really honored that she chose to participate in our book and share some of those words. I've had a chance to travel with her to some different events, work we're doing on the Navajo Nation. She traveled there with cancer support community and some other events. And it's just been so wonderful to see her raise the profile and really help to make an impact for patients and families.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's always nice to have somebody backing and kind of awareness of that and bringing it to that national stage to get the support for organizations like our own. So what else will readers find when they're reading this book? Yeah,
so I'm proud and honored that my name is on the cover of the book, but I have to say that this book represents the toil and efforts and care of many, many people, of a whole team of people who they've imparted their knowledge, their wisdom, their expertise. A lot of the materials in here are materials curated from the cancer support community's Frankly Speaking About Cancer series. But this book really opens a window into a whole host of resources. Our publisher kept saying, you have to cut it down, Kim, you have to cut it down, Kim. So what we ended up doing was, at the end of every chapter, we put a resource section where we put government agencies, nonprofit organizations, copay assistance foundations. In the back, there's financial resources, government resources. We really wanted to curate all the resources out there. You guys know, you go to Google, you type in breast cancer. I mean, forget it. Tens of millions of responses. I say to people, stay away from Dr. Google. Let us do the work for you. So we've really done that. We have vetted these resources. We have curated these resources. The book is really designed as a workbook. I want people to write in it. It's got places where you can write your doctor's information, dog-ear the pages, keep the notes in the back. You'll see in the introduction, I write, keep it in your backpack, keep it in your purse, take it to chemo, take it with a cup of coffee into the backyard. It's a guidebook, right? So keep it with you, take it with you, and use it as that guidebook as you, face your cancer diagnosis.
Definitely a great tool and resource for those patients.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, Kim, because every section has such different resources, it's wonderful that you put that out there so people can go to the specific section they're looking for and grab those resources if they need additional support. So overall, what are you hoping people really walk away with, after reading the book?
So I'm a world traveler. I've been to over 50 countries. I've been to all 50 states, 7 continents. And wherever I travel, I have a good guidebook in hand. And so it's not by accident that the book is called Your Cancer Roadmap, because I'm big on the guidebook, and this really is the guidebook. I want folks to know that you do not have to face cancer alone. I want folks to know that there is no bad question or stupid question or wrong question. Like, this is your life, right? You have to be your own best advocate. You have to ask the questions. You have to build a team around you. You have to build a team of friends and family. You'll have to build a team of those in the, in the healthcare world. You're going to have to be educated and empowered. I want people to feel confident in the decisions that they're making. And I want to feel that they can make decisions with their eyes wide open, having all of the information available to them. A woman in Virginia, I remember she said to me, I come what may, I just want to feel confident in my decisions. I want to make these decisions with my eyes wide open, and I want to have no regrets. And so I hope the book will help with that, that it will give people, it will be that tool that they can hold on to. It will help them be educated, empowered, face cancer empowered, and that they have no regrets, and they have all of the information to make the decisions that are right for them and their family.
Well, Kim, I really want to thank you for kind of taking a few minutes with us today to really highlight what your book is all about and really just shed the light on what amazing resource it is for our patients and caregivers alike. So again, thank you for taking the time to be with us today and kind of shedding light on this amazing book that you've written for us.
Well, thank you for having me. And again, congratulations on all your great work. Thank you to your volunteers. Thank you to your donors. Thank you to everybody in the community that's supporting your effort. I know we're all in this together, and we all want to make sure that people know that they don't have to face cancer alone. So I appreciate you taking some time with me today. Thank you.